And Raul, it is time for Ask the Derm. Board certified dermatologist Dr. Billy Groff from Cosmetic Laser Dermatology is here to help answer some of your questions. Thank you for joining us as always. Here's the first question. I just got back from spring break in Cancun, and while there, I was snorkeling. I picked up this beautiful shell, and one of the locals yelled at me, peligroso. I'm puzzled about this. Any ideas of what he meant? That's Kyle from Rancho Bernardo. A lot of people heading out on vacation, a lot of people heading out and picking up things they probably shouldn't be picking up, right?
Right, yeah. Well, I think peligroso means dangerous, right?
Absolutely.
So dangerous, beautiful shell to me means he probably came across one of these cone snails. Now, you can see in this photo, the cone snail has a projection which sticks out from the shell, and it's actually, it's called a radula, but it's very similar to a harpoon-like structure.
So it can sting you?
Yeah, it can sting you, and the results can be quite devastating. These tiny creatures, they can range from maybe a couple of inches up to a foot or so, but the larger ones in certain species of them, if they sting you, it can be fatal. There's been at least probably 50 to 60 deaths reported, and for every reported death, there's probably 10 that weren't reported. So, especially little kids, you have to educate them and say, hey, if you see a beautiful shell when you're out in the water, don't pick it up. It can look like something like this.
Right.
So,
and we see that a lot.
Yeah, I was actually on spring break with my kids just last week, and one of my daughters saw a woman pick up one of these, and she's like, drop it, and the locals came around, yeah, don't touch that, it'll sting, and it can be very dangerous. So, yeah.
It's enticing, but that's just the point, isn't it?
Just enjoy it with your eyes, not with your hands.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Second question. I am going surfing for the first time during my spring break, and I'm nervous about stingrays. Is there any way that I can avoid injury? And that's Jackie from Escondido.
Yeah, well, living in San Diego, we know all about stingrays,
we do.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can see in this photo here, stingrays can be actually really aggressive and attack little children. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually...
Now Jackie feels so much better now.
Right, no. This is my kids, and we're at one of those stingray cities or places where they feed them and where they've been feeding them for years. So they can be quite docile, and you know, in those situations, you can actually pet them and feed them, and it's a great experience. But say you're surfing in Pacific Beach, it's a totally different game. Now, when you're going out into the surf, you should shuffle your feet along. Don't pick up and step, because what's going to happen is you're going to step on the stingray, the tail's going to come up, and boom, right into the leg. So, and when that happens, it's almost always, you should go to the emergency room, because it can leave pieces of the barb, and some patients can have a very... like
a bad reaction?
Bad reaction, yeah. It can cause shortness of breath, difficulty breathing. So, stingray shuffle is what you should do, though, if you're out, you know, if you're surfing or playing in the tides.
I mean, it's advice we give people every year, right?
But a lot of people that aren't from San Diego don't know any better.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. All right, and there's another question here. We've got Dr. Groff. Can you recommend how to choose the right sunscreen to keep my kids safe from the sun? We're getting ready for a spring break trip to visit in-laws in Florida, and that's Jennifer from UTC. I mean, we should be wearing it all the time, though, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, for sure, but especially on spring
and
break.
And those are your kids, too, aren't they?
Yeah, that's my daughters, Jenna and Piper, and again, this is from a recent trip. We were very fortunate to go on this nice trip, but you can see my girls have on these sun protective tops. Now, the clothing like this can provide like an SPF of 50. So, especially if you're somewhere that's you know, more tropical, Caribbean, Mexico, you know, the sun's very strong. So these tops are a great idea. Also, you want to have them wear a hat, because the hat will help shade or protect the face. And then sunblock wise, for my kids, I like sunblocks to have zinc.
A high amount of zinc, right?
Right. High amount of zinc, high amount of titanium dioxide. It won't burn or sting their eyes. I can literally put it on my kids' upper and lower eyelids. No problems, no crying and whining, and you know what can happen with some of the chemical sunscreens.
But make sure you wear a hat and those kinds of things. Those are
Absolutely.
important. And final question, I've seen this before. I was bartending last weekend, and the following day I woke up with blisters on my fingers. Please help. And that's Stephen from San Diego. And you know, some of those blisters that I've seen, they almost look like burns.
Yeah, they really do. And here's a perfect example. You know, this patient was bartending, and what happened was they got some lime juice on their fingertips, and they were out in the sun having a good time. What's in the lime juice, there's a certain chemical, and it makes the sun much more sensitive to sunlight. So instead of just getting maybe a slight little sunburn, you get like blistering, and it can be, you know, quite an impressive injury. So the key is, if say you're having, and this is called, funny enough, it's called Margarita dermatitis.
Wow.
So it's the lime. It's the juice of the lime. So if you are bartending or if you're having a Corona on the beach and you squeeze the lime, make sure you rinse your hands off in the ocean water or something to
Or
get
if you're
that lime.
having to do that for a long period of time, wear a pair of like latex gloves.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
All
That'd
right.
be smart.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
great
it's
seeing
so
you.
it's so important to get in touch with Dr. Groff. The information is on your screen, and we also linked it to our website. Again, thank you for joining
Yep,
us, and
thank
we
you.
always look forward to this and finding out exactly what
Thank
we need
you.
to do. All right,
Good
thanks.
seeing you.